Welcome to our Letters of Healing series. We are in week 4, which means letter 4 of the actual series. I really hope that you have found value in the last 3 letters that we've shared, and also have been able to share them, have been able to use it as a tool of reflection as you are going through your process, your healing, and that it just brings value to you. I pray that you feel seen. I pray that you feel encouraged, and I pray that you are given the energy to keep going, the encouragement to keep going on this healing journey. We're in week 4, like I said, with letter 4, and this letter is called My Letter of Healing. So let's jump into it. I really met myself when I was considering divorce. Like really met myself. Deciding to get married had been the biggest decision I had ever made. To choose to leave my family, leave living for my own purpose, and choose to blend. To live as one and create our own family was a life-changing decision. Later, choosing to separate the pieces of that puzzle that had been built over so many years was in the biggest and hardest decision I'd ever had to make. At that point, my life was not in a space that I felt was conducive to me. I was uncomfortable in my own skin. I was in huge amounts of pain. I believed I had tried absolutely every possible avenue to repair. And I knew if I stayed, there would be resentment. There would be a brokenness, and most importantly, I would be passing on to my children something I definitely did not want them carrying or mimicking into their own lives. I was very blessed that at this point in my life, I had already been in therapy for 6 years. Let me tell you, therapy is life. I was even more blessed that I had been with the same therapist for all those 6 years. So I was in a comfortable space where I could truly leave it all on the couch. Picking a therapist, even at that time, was a very conscious and picky process. It was important for me to have an African therapist who could easily relate to my challenges at the time. It was important for me to have a female therapist who could understand my views from a Black woman in these times. And the most crucial was that it needed to be a Christian therapist. The last thing I wanted was to be guided by somebody who doesn't relate to my core values and a Christ-led life. So my healing journey was, to be honest, accelerated in a way. Just because I was working with someone who we had already identified how my brain is wired, how my mind navigates and processes things. And so it was easier to pick out when my responses were coming from previous childhood traumas. It was easier to call out when I was operating from fear or a need for control. It was easier to identify when certain scenarios would create trauma, as we could identify into boxes we had called by name previously. My journey was slow. I allowed myself to fully go through every stage I needed to. A big fear I had was to bury myself in work and the kids that I didn't grieve. I was very focused on holding the space for my kids to question, to act out behaviorally, to break down. My biggest worry was that I didn't want to hold everything all together, navigating them through this new life, and when they could land safely. And the second I felt it was safe for me to take a breath, I would be stuck in a time zone of 5 years ago, breaking down as my kids have moved out of the fragile stage, asking myself how I got here. Mourning a loss I lost 5 years ago, not knowing how I even got through, or rather missed, a 5-year period. So I really went through it. I sat through all the cycles: grief, anger, disappointment, frozen, numb, hate, revenge. I allowed myself time through all of it until I was transitioning into the next and the next phase, until there was peace. People often blend the healing conversation with regret, as if one cannot be present without the other. Do you regret getting married? Do you regret moving to another city or province? Do you regret making that career decision too early or too late? I have no regrets. I was supposed to get married to who I got married to. My life was supposed to be trajected the way it did and take the curves and bumps it took. Without all my experiences, it would not have formed who I am today. And I like who I am today. Did it hurt? Yes. Did it change the very direction of life? For sure. But I do not wish it away anymore. We must absolutely go through every fire that comes our way. Go right through it. I used to hate the saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I would always ask myself, but why does something have to near kill me to make me strong? There are other ways to get strong, like go to the gym, fail a few tests, watching podcasts, and learning from other people's experiences, proofing your life. But we do not get to pick our mountains. And what doesn't kill you really does make you stronger. It's absolutely imperative that we heal. If not, we pass on generational cycles to the ones close to us, particularly our children, whom we are responsible for molding and shaping. We pass on unhealed traumas. We move with so much caution that we miss truly living. There are so many beautiful relationships that I have been able to form during the journey. Some on a spiritual form, some on a motherhood space, some on a career space. By far the most important relationship I have nurtured in this journey is the relationship with self, which has become my first and most treasured relationship. Thank you for this letter. So I have 5 thoughts when I was reading this letter that I'd like to place before us. So thought number 1. What hard truths has this healing journey asked you to face? Truths about yourself, your environment, your dreams. And do we have the courage to face those truths and deal and navigate with them? Number 2. Have you made the conscious and intentional choice of what your healing journey needs? Is your community anchored in your values so that it can give you what you may need when you need it and when you come to them, when you're walking through your healing? Number 3, regret. Where are you with this? And are those regrets real truths? Like in the letter, she had come to understand that she doesn't regret anything because she believes that every part of the journey of her life has brought her to where she is today. So she doesn't regret anything. But where are you with the concept of regret in your healing journey? Number 4, the direction of healing is through, not around, not underneath, not above, not to the side, but through. You have to go through it in order to get to the other side. And the last thought, which I absolutely loved from this letter, is that healing gives you the gift of meeting yourself, really meeting yourself, and learning to love yourself through and through. So that was letter number 4, which is our last letter in the series of season 1 of our letters of healing. I want to thank you for watching all of these videos. I want to thank you for engaging with them. And I want to thank you for sharing the stories that have been shared with those who have shared the letters with us. If you would like to share your letter to really share and encourage others who are going through their healing journey. Another thing also to note is that just because you feel like you haven't come to the end of your healing doesn't mean you don't have a story to share. Every part of the process is of value. Every part of the process can encourage. Every part of the process is an echo out to the community that we are all in this together. So I want to thank you for it, and I want to encourage you to continue to heal. As the year comes to an end, take the time to reflect. Reflect on the last 9, 10, 11 months of what 2025 has looked like. Sit down with yourself and ask yourself the questions. Are you happy with the progress that you've made? And if you're not, why? And how can you change it and make the progress better in 2026? But always know it is not a sprint. This is a marathon. It is a slow jog some days. Heck, it's a walk some other days. And some days you're just standing there and trying to take your breath. But the point of the journey is to keep moving forward. Thank you again for being a part of this series.